going to be a celebration day for National Single Payer Health Care nationwide, and that all of you are going to be here, you can imagine that I was so happy. For me, it is very much like some of the victories during the Civil Rights Movement, like when we were able to get passage of the Voting Rights Act, and I just checked with Congressman Conyers on the date. It was 1965, at a time when the struggles for so many people came together to share the work, whether legislative or in the streets, and that's important, both legislative and in the streets and all kinds of other ways that we were working together. Work that could not stop until we won together, that had to keep continuing, and we had to win it together. There was no other way. We don't yet have single payer health care, but we are well on our way. And for me, and most of you know that because you're working in that movement and making it happen. For me, the most exciting thing is that you're all here together. We are on the verge of winning. And I won't emphasize that too much, but I want to hear from our congressman and from the others who are speaking about where we are exactly at this very moment in terms of the single payer question. Because, as you know, it was the front page story today in the New York Times. And we'll see how our president follows through, how our Congress follows through on the issue. We're on the verge of winning something that is so desperately needed for all of our people, single-payer health care that will save our health and even more hugely save our economy. It's amazing to me that so few people still understand that the insurance companies, the health industrial complex, and their greed have continued to stand in the way of a healthy economy. Standing in the way of a healthy economy by standing in the way of a single-payer system. A system that will allow us all to pay into our healthcare system and pay billions of dollars less, hundreds of billions of dollars less. Certainly the health of the people is most important, but it all fits together. Billions of dollars into the economy where we need it, and health care coverage for everybody where our people are suffering and dying. We will get both with single payer, and that's the thing we have to keep hammering home, is that we will get both, the field economy and health care for everybody. So I want to say just two short things. I don't have a lot to say except just greetings to all of you and love to all of you, and keep up the fight to all of you. I can't be even on the conference calls anymore. I used to be on the monthly and weekly conference calls, and I can't stay awake long enough because the illness continues to knock me out before 8 o'clock, so don't call me after 8 o'clock. But the two short things I want to say is that being an organizer is an honorable profession, and it is a profession. You may not think of yourself as an organizer, but for me, spending my life as an organizer for change in this world has been a fantastic way to spend a life, and doing it with all of you is a great way to live. And you know how great it is. Change is slow, but as Dr. King said, and many of you can quote this well, the arc of history is long, but it bends toward justice. And that's what we have to continue to remember and to say to ourselves. One small part of that arc of history was his brilliant plan to begin organizing communities to elect black mayors in cities across the country. And Congressman Conyers will remember this particular effort, and I think it was 1966 or 65, right in there. And I was lucky enough to be a part of that movement, working for Dr. King on that particular piece of the work. And it was work that was brilliant. It was brilliant on his part, as always, thinking through how can we do But I don't think he would have said that electing a dozen mayors, black mayors, across the country in major cities was going to bring us to the point where at some point we're going to have the first American U.S. black president. And that was, I mean, he wouldn't have said that. None of us would have believed it at that moment. And yet there we were, working away. You know, that's what organizers do. He would not have spoken of this as the precursor to the election of an African-American president. But I was so lucky as to have been a part of that piece of the community organizing. And you don't know when you start in an organizing campaign where it's going to go, how it's going to go, what it's going to take to get where you want to go. I was lucky to be there. Work against racism, and I want to say this, is one of the great issues, one of the greatest issues of our time. And you guys know that, everybody here knows that. And it is only begun. Only begun. And it must be a part of the organizing that we do from now on. So that's my point one. Point two is equally short. The development of young people is critical. And we have here today people from the Ella Baker Organizing Center, from the Center for Constitutional Rights, which we helped to create. And it was Miss Baker who was, how many people know who Miss Baker was? Know her history? Good, some people know. She was an incredible organizer, very quietly went about doing her work, but most people didn't give her the credit. You'll hear a little bit about that from one of the people from that center. So work against racism is one of the great issues, and it's only begun in this country and must be a part of the organizing work we're doing. And the work with young people is essential, particularly for young people, but it's really important for us to build on that. Miss Baker was a leader who caught my attention, and a result of her model, creating SNCCs, Student Nonviolent Organizing Committee, to the consternation of a lot of older and wiser organizers who've been out there a long time and who didn't think the young people really had much to say or could in fact lead. There she was, organizing away very quietly. We created, after her death, the Ella Baker Student Training Center at the Center for Constitutional Rights for young law students. And we wanted law students to work on the issues of justice and racism, the issues that I'm talking about. At the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, where I was after the Center for Constitutional Rights, we organized a similar thing called the Jane Addams Center for Peace and Justice. And here again was an organizing effort that was with women from all over the world, a lot of different countries. And they were the ones who were able to organize a lot of different movements as a result of it. Someplace like the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom taking up, here are young people who have an opportunity and can lead, can help us to lead. So if we continue to do these things, become organizers for change in whatever we do, and secondly, help build the next generation of young people working for change, then our next period of history will see the most excellent and essential changes that we've desperately been needing for such a long time. And so those are the two messages, basically. Become an organizer, understand that you are an organizer, and work with young people to help them to do the same. Again, I want to thank Donna Scopper and Judson Church, and my gosh, this is incredible, and all of you who are here, and all of the movements who are supporting single payer and this event. And I'll stop with just a thank you to all of you. Keep it up. We're going to win single payer, and that's why we're